If you understand people too well, you eventually find yourself walking alone. The author? Unknown. But it was likely a Sigma male quietly blending into the background. There's a rare kind of man who doesn't just accept solitude, he thrives in it. He isn't angry, isn't broken, and certainly isn't desperate for connection. He's simply unreachable. You could sit him in a crowded room, and he'd still feel like a silent observer behind glass, watching, analyzing, never fully engaging. He's unreadable. Untouchable. Unbothered by the idea of fitting in. And here's the part no one wants to say out loud. He didn't lose people. He outgrew them, quietly, permanently, without regret. In fact, research published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that individuals who are highly self-reliant tend to have fewer social ties. But here's the twist, they're also less anxious, more emotionally resilient, and almost impossible to manipulate. That's the Sigma male's burden, and his brilliance. He's not isolated because he lacks connection. He's alone because 99% of people either bore him, drain him, or try to mold him into something he's not. He's the man who reads a "we need to talk" text and calmly replies. About what? Your guilt or your unspoken expectations? He's the guy who dodges social invites with more finesse than Houdini escaping chains. But here's the real kicker. He doesn't feel lonely. He feels liberated. So why does a man like this end up with no one by his side? Why is he praised in public, but misunderstood behind closed doors? And what hidden truths lie at the root of his chosen solitude? Let's tear off the surface-level stories and dive into the brutal, liberating, and often misunderstood reasons Sigma males walk alone. Grab your tea. Or whiskey. Because what's coming cuts deep. Number 1, loyalty without depth is just noise. To the Sigma male, loyalty without substance is meaningless. He's not impressed by people who stick around out of routine, fear, or guilt. Surface-level commitment doesn't move him. If it's not real, it's irrelevant. Most people stay in friendships and relationships for the wrong reasons: shared history, convenience, or image maintenance. But Sigma males see through the mask. They don't care how long you've known someone. If the connection is shallow, it's empty. If the conversations never leave the surface, the loyalty doesn't matter. What he truly values is depth, emotional honesty, and intellectual compatibility. He wants real talk, not rehearsed dialogue. He wants to be challenged without being diminished. He wants silence that feels sacred, not awkward. And if he doesn't find that, he won't fake closeness. He'll walk away, not as punishment, but because pretending to be connected is more exhausting than walking alone. To him, loyalty isn't measured by time. It's measured by truth. Can you show up without a mask? Can you disagree without dominating? Can you be real without needing to be right? Most people can't. They think loyalty is about presence, when really, it's about presence of mind. That's why Sigma males don't keep large circles. In a world where loyalty is often a tool for manipulation, guilt, or control, they reject it, unless it's grounded in shared truth. He doesn't care how loyal you are to who you think he is. If you can't accept him as he is, unfiltered, layered, and fiercely sovereign, then your loyalty is just another illusion. And illusions don't last in his world. Number 2, they've outgrown the world's illusions. Most people build their lives on comforting lies, soulmate fantasies, lifelong friendships that never fracture, the belief that true belonging comes from joining a tribe or finding someone to complete them. These ideas are fed to us through films, family traditions, classrooms, and even self-help culture. They sound poetic, but to the Sigma male, they're not truth. They're emotional anesthesia, designed to soothe, not awaken. Sigma males didn't choose solitude. They simply reached a point where self-deception became unbearable. They saw what others refused to admit. That many relationships are rooted in fear, not love. That most friendships operate on silent transactions. That what people call loyalty is often just masked guilt. And so they stopped pretending. They stopped playing the game. And with that brutal clarity came a cost. They outgrew the world's illusions. And with it, they outgrew most people. This makes connection hard for them, not because they don't care, but because they refuse to fake it. They won't call a shallow bond deep. They won't label someone family just because of DNA. They won't confuse codependency for love or validation for meaning. When they speak this truth aloud, others recoil. They're called cold, distant, difficult. But the Sigma male isn't cold, he's conscious. And the more awake a man becomes, the fewer people he can truly meet. That's the paradox. The clearer his lens, the lonelier the landscape. Not because he hates others, but because the world keeps offering surface-level connections wrapped in artificial warmth. And he won't betray himself just to feel included. That isn't sadness, it's sovereignty. He's not waiting to be understood. He's building a life so real, only the honest can enter. By the time others realize they've lived inside a script, the Sigma has already outgrown the story, and walked alone into a deeper truth. Number 3, they don't bond, they observe. Sigma males exist at a psychological altitude that most people don't even know exists. While others form bonds through shared laughs, trauma dumps, or group identity, the Sigma doesn't jump into emotional alliances. He stands at a distance, watching, listening, measuring. He doesn't engage the way others do. Not because he's cold, because he's calibrated. Not because he doesn't care, because he cares deeply, and doesn't offer that energy lightly. His way of connecting is different. Where others seek emotional mirroring, the Sigma offers mental reflection. While people want to be understood emotionally, he's busy analyzing the logic behind their feelings. He's not trying to make you feel better. He's trying to understand why you feel at all. This level of introspection can be unsettling. Even when he's being friendly, his presence carries a quiet edge, as if you're being studied, not embraced. Most people sense it, even if they can't name it. It's that eerie awareness of being scanned, your micro-expressions, tone shifts, and contradictions filed away like data. He's not judging. He's learning. But because he doesn't meet people with emotional mimicry, most don't know how to respond. Some feel exposed. Others start performing. Very few stay real. This isn't arrogance. It's instinct. Sigma males don't bond through emotional highs or shared wounds. They don't default to closeness. Their connection is founded on observation, not impulse. And observation is surgical. The result? People can know a Sigma male for years and still feel like strangers. Because he never fully merges. He doesn't lose himself in the group. He stays rooted in his own reality, watching everyone else dance around trying to find theirs. He's not trying to be distant. He's just not willing to drown in emotional noise. And if the rhythm of the room feels fake, he won't join the dance. He'd rather sit in stillness and study the chaos than pretend to enjoy it. Number 4, they see through people, not into them. Sigma males aren't wired for emotional fusion, they're built for observation. While most people walk into relationships seeking comfort, bonding, or a sense of safety, Sigma males walk in with high-caliber internal radar. They're not charmed by appearances or wooed by words. They're decoding patterns, scanning behavior, and analyzing what lies beneath the surface. They don't just hear what you say, they question why you're saying it. This isn't cynicism, it's clarity. And it makes deep emotional connection incredibly rare, not because they're afraid of intimacy, but because they're too attuned to the masks people wear, even in moments of so-called vulnerability. Every expression is a question. Is this real emotion, or is it performance? Is this truth, or is it strategic self-presentation? Sigma males don't bond through sentiment, they trust only what's consistent over time. Most people, however, aren't used to that kind of scrutiny. They expect empathy, not examination. But the Sigma male can't help it. His brain is wired to dissect rather than dissolve into emotional waters. He notices what others gloss over. The friend who claims honesty but avoids confrontation. The lover who says, "I love you," but measures everything in return. The family member who offers help only to leverage it later. Others accept these contradictions for the sake of harmony. The Sigma doesn't. He can't. His perception won't let him rest in illusion. And when you constantly see through people, it becomes difficult to truly feel with them. Emotional closeness becomes risky, it threatens to entangle him in someone else's unresolved narrative. That's the quiet burden of the Sigma male. He's not detached because he lacks love. He's distant because he's seen too many people lie to themselves and call it connection. So he observes. He stays on the edge. And when the performance becomes too loud to ignore, he walks, not out of apathy, but out of integrity. Number 5, their time perception is ruthless. To a Sigma male, time isn't something to pass, it's something to protect. It's currency. It's a finite resource. And he treats it with the precision of an investor. If a conversation feels shallow, a social event seems forced, or the energy is draining, he walks away, quickly and without guilt. Sigma males audit every interaction. Did it spark growth? Was it real? Did it matter? If not, it's mentally filed as a poor investment, and Sigma males don't revisit what drains them. This is why they vanish from group chats, decline casual invites, or skip meaningless hangouts. It's not antisocial behavior. It's time discipline. Even in close relationships, if things become repetitive, fake, or emotionally hollow, they quietly disengage. There won't always be a dramatic goodbye. Sometimes, there's just silence, their way of saying, "This no longer adds value." What unsettles others is how unapologetic they are about this. Most people stay in draining relationships out of habit, guilt, or fear of being alone. Sigma males don't. They value their time too much to waste it pretending. To the outsider, that looks cold or detached. But it's not cruelty, it's clarity. Every second is a transaction with life. Sigma males don't gamble on bad emotional returns. They cut losses, reclaim their hours, and redirect that energy towards something meaningful. It's not selfish. It's disciplined solitude. And very few people are built to handle it. Number 6, they have no need to be liked. Sigma males don't wake up wondering how to win people over. That thought doesn't even register. They don't adjust their personality to fit the crowd, water down their opinions to keep things smooth, or flash a fake smile to appear agreeable. Where most people subtly perform for approval, through charm, humor, or politeness, Sigma males opt out of the performance entirely. This lack of social dependency is unsettling to others. Most people are conditioned to crave acceptance, to scan for cues, to play the game of fitting in. So when someone walks in clearly immune to those needs, it throws the whole dynamic off. They're labeled cold, arrogant, antisocial, but in reality, they're just free. Free from the approval trap. Free from the pressure to belong. Because Sigma males don't chase approval, they don't fear rejection either. They'll speak the uncomfortable truth without flinching. They'll remain silent when others expect a reaction. They'll leave the room without needing closure or applause. This kind of presence makes people nervous. It signals a quiet power, one that can't be manipulated by praise or punished by exclusion. Sigma males don't act mysterious to get attention. They simply value self-respect more than popularity. In a culture obsessed with likes, validation, and forced smiles, that independence feels threatening. It doesn't make them broken. It makes them untouchable. Number 7, they can't be guilt-tripped into staying. Sigma males are immune to one of the oldest manipulation tools in human psychology, guilt. Where most people can be emotionally manipulated into staying in draining friendships, dysfunctional family ties, or toxic relationships, Sigma males see guilt for what it is, a tool used to control. And they don't respond to it. They recognize guilt tripping the moment it appears, and rather than engage, they treat it like a fire alarm. It signals one thing: time to exit. This is where manipulators get frustrated. A family member might say, "After everything we've done for you." A partner might cry, "How could you leave after all we've been through?" Friends might weaponize the past with lines like, "You've changed. Remember who was there for you." None of it works. Because the Sigma doesn't measure loyalty by years, favors, or shared nostalgia. He measures it by alignment and authenticity. If a connection no longer reflects who he is, or worse, if it requires him to shrink to preserve the peace, he leaves. Not because he's heartless, but because staying would be a betrayal of self. He doesn't confuse emotional theatrics with love. He doesn't mistake pressure for loyalty. He knows that any relationship asking him to abandon his peace, his values, or his truth is no longer a relationship, it's a trap. So while others stay to avoid disappointing people, the Sigma male does the harder thing. He walks away, even if it hurts. Even if the bond was once beautiful. Even if it costs him closeness. Why? Because he knows guilt is the language of manipulation, not connection. And once someone tries to shame him into staying, the door quietly shuts. No scene. No drama. Just silence. He'd rather be misunderstood than molded. He'd rather stand alone than be emotionally puppeteered. Because the moment he sees the strings, he no longer plays along. Number 8, they reject emotional debt. Sigma males operate from a place of pure intention. If they do something for you, it's because they choose to, not because they're keeping a mental scorecard. And they expect the same in return. What they cannot stand is the hidden emotional contracts people attach to kindness, the unspoken, "you owe me now" energy that trails behind a favor, a helping hand, or unsolicited support. To most people, this give-and-take dynamic is normal. You show up for my event, I return the favor. You help me move, now I owe you dinner. It's a cycle of quiet transactions dressed up as friendship. But to a Sigma, it reeks of manipulation disguised as goodwill. Even when intentions are good, the moment he senses someone keeping score, he begins to retreat. Not because he's ungrateful, but because the energy has shifted, from genuine to transactional. And he refuses to exist in a space where connection starts to feel like currency. He doesn't want his presence, time, or support to come with strings attached. He doesn't want favors leveraged against him like emotional IOUs. And the second someone tries to use past help as leverage for control, he cuts the cord, swiftly and without explanation. This is why Sigma males often disappear from dynamics that look healthy on the surface. It's not coldness, it's clarity. They can detect when a relationship morphs from real connection into obligation. And once that happens, they're gone. To others, this can seem harsh. But to the Sigma male, freedom always trumps familiarity. Authenticity always outweighs loyalty based on guilt. If you're doing something for him, it better be real, because anything less will be exposed, and when it is, he'll walk. Not with drama. Not with arguments. Just distance, detachment, and silence. Because in the Sigma male's world, the only relationships worth keeping are the ones with zero strings attached. Number 9, they don't need people to be whole. Most people shape their identity around external feedback. They mirror what gets praise, change what gets judged, and cling to relationships to feel complete. Sigma males do the opposite. Their identity is forged in solitude. They don't need applause to feel valuable or company to feel alive. They don't rely on external anchors. Their sense of self is internally sourced. That gives them power, but also makes most relationships feel unnecessary. Not because they don't value connection, but because they don't need it to feel whole. That level of inner stability is rare. Most people bond over shared emotional dependency. Sigmas don't. They're already solid. They're not searching for someone to complete them. If anything, they're cautious about who they allow into that completeness. They don't chase people. They don't fear walking alone. If a connection brings value, honesty, and depth, they'll welcome it. If not, they won't fake it, and they definitely won't beg for it. They don't panic when people leave, because their world was never built on others to begin with. This may look like detachment. It's not. It's sovereignty. When you no longer need others to define you, only a few people ever feel essential. The result? Fewer relationships, more peace. Number 10, their standards aren't high, they're non-negotiable. Sigma males don't demand perfection. They're not chasing flawless personalities, high-status resumes, or impressive track records. What they want is authenticity, something most people are too afraid or too unprepared to offer. They crave depth. Real, raw, unpolished truth. They're drawn to people who know who they are, those who don't hide behind personas, who speak with purpose, and who don't collapse in silence or lash out when they're not being coddled. That level of emotional strength and self-awareness is rare, and it's intimidating to those who rely on performance and pretense to maintain relationships. Where the average person settles for surface-level compatibility, shared interests, mutual contacts, good vibes, a Sigma wants a bond built on inner alignment. If you're emotionally needy, approval-seeking, or uncomfortable in your own solitude, they sense it fast. Not because they're judging you, but because they know those traits become heavy in the long run. Sigma males aren't looking to fix anyone. They won't babysit insecurities or validate every emotional hiccup. They've done the inner work, and they expect the same. When they don't see that alignment, they don't wait, plead, or hope for change. They leave, quietly, but completely. People think Sigma males have impossibly high standards. They don't. They have non-negotiables, essentials that protect their peace, freedom, and mental clarity. If those aren't present, they won't stay. Not to hurt you, but because pretending is more painful than letting go. If it's not real, it's not worth it. Number 11, shallow conversations drain them. To a Sigma male, most conversations feel like static, noise without substance. Talk of the weather, gossip, drama, celebrity nonsense, it's mental junk food. And Sigma males have no appetite for it. They don't speak to fill space. They speak to connect. If there's no depth, no truth, no challenge, no emotional weight, they check out. Not rudely. Silently. They want conversations that matter. Real, unfiltered dialogue. Existential questions. Inner contradictions. Bold ideas. Emotional transparency. That's what feeds them. And if that isn't on the table, they'll sit in silence and savor their own thoughts. That's why they're often labeled quiet or distant. But it's not about being antisocial. It's about being anti-fake. They protect their mind from shallow talk like others protect their home from intruders. Because once you value depth, everything else starts to feel like a waste of breath. Number 12, they dismantle illusions, and most people need them to cope. Sigma males are allergic to falsehood. They don't tolerate it, they don't participate in it, and they won't pretend to believe it. They have a raw, unfiltered relationship with reality. Fake friendships? They see right through them. Performative love? They feel the acting. Socially acceptable lies? They burn through them with silence or with truth that cuts straight to the core. This unnerves people. Most relationships are built on little lies, quiet avoidance, and polite delusions. Sigma males don't play along. They won't fake support just to make someone feel better. They won't enable denial just to maintain peace. Instead, they speak clearly. Or worse for others, they stay silent. That silence reflects reality like a mirror most people can't bear to face. They see people clinging to toxic relationships, playing the victim to avoid growth, or pretending strength to hide fear, and they won't validate it. Sigma males don't crave validation. They crave clarity. And when people realize the Sigma won't play the emotional game they're used to, they pull back. Because truth has a social cost, and Sigma males are willing to pay it. Final thoughts. Sigma males don't end up alone because they're broken or bitter. They end up alone because they refuse to settle for surface-level connections, fake loyalty, performative love, or the lies society feeds everyone else. They don't chase validation. They chase truth. They don't want applause. They want alignment. Yes, it's isolating. But it's real. Solitude becomes their filter, the fire that burns away the false, leaving only the genuine. So if you resonate with this, you already know, being a Sigma male isn't about ego. It's about clarity. You walk alone not because you're weak, but because you're unwilling to lie just to feel accepted. And that is your power.